Hi, everybody. I'm Pam, the Messenger of Love. Welcome to the Magical Messages of Love. And tonight we are going to talk to quite a few spirits who have already gathered around. And it's going to be an interesting conversation. We're going to talk about starseeds and how we can go through this process of awakening and feel more connected. So when you join into the live event, go ahead and put your questions in the chat if you have something that you would like to ask to one of the spirits, or if you want to ask to your spirit guides, then I will find your question and we'll get the answer for you. If you want to, when you're joining the chat, go ahead and tell me where you're from, where you're joining us from, what location you're at, and then we'll all join together in this experience and create more love energy for the planet. So tonight is a very interesting night. I was getting a lot of messages about starseed energy and how there's a lot of different ways that we're opening up and awakening that now. So there are different ways to look at starseeds. So one of them, the ways to look at it is kind of like a collective energy of people that are coming to the earth who are from stars, who are from our systems, and we are bringing in these different higher vibrations to come in and teach other people, or to open our hearts more, to help to connect together more and help humanity. And starseeds may have different roles. Some people come in and they are leaning more towards healing energy. So they'll be healers. And so that would be somebody that's like an energy healer, maybe a Reiki practitioner, something like that. Other people are more drawn to science. So there's a lot of starseeds that are more in the more logical, analytical, and science areas, maybe medicine and things like that. And then there's other areas too. There's people that are more working with, things in the social realm and, helping people, overall, like through humanitarian efforts and nonprofits, and other people that are being more in their artistic talents, musicians, artists, creative people, writers, people that are speakers, coaches, people that are therapists, healers of that nature. They're all coming in and shining their lights and, speaking their truth, being in their power, and just connecting to that purpose of why they came here. So if you feel like you're a starseed, you might feel some of the things that come up if you're thinking maybe you don't fit in here. For some reason you feel like, where do I fit in to different groups in the earth? Like, I feel like I don't belong here. That can be a sign that you're a starseed, because you have such a strong connection to this other dimension, this other star planet, that you feel uncomfortable here because the energy is a little different in this physical plane. You might feel like there's something that you're being drawn to do here, like a very strong power to do your calling, follow something that's way out there, that's different. Maybe you want to start to help people tap into sound healing or sacred geometry, or something that's out there that's a little bit different thought than has been brought into the consciousness before. And you may have ways that you feel like you are very sensitive to energy. So you might be more of an empath, and you sense when things are wrong with people, or when what is the good in them too. Like you see, both sides, and you see maybe where people need healing, or, what is the truth of their mission and their existence here. So you kind of see through the stuff that normally is the facade that maybe people would carry, like maybe, the way they hide themselves, or they have a mask and they're kind of hiding who they are. So as a starseed, you tend to see past all of those things and know deeper truths, and maybe have memories of some of these other existences, or memories of past lives that are more strongly connected to you. So if you're joining now, I just want to let you know that I am talking about starseeds tonight, and we're going to be communicating with a few spirits and talk about that topic and a few other things. And then at the end of the experience, we'll be doing a little bit of a fun thing tonight. We're going to start to do something where we connect to the starseed energy. And so we're going to do like an activation of that energy. So if you come on to right now, or whenever you join in, just keep listening to the experience and stay to the end, so that you can get that activation and use your gifts to go and do the things that you want to do in the world. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the spirits that are coming in to bring messages. And then we're going to talk again about Starseeds a little bit more later tonight. So some of the spirits that were coming to me, one of them that came in, and this is before I even knew I was going to talk about Starseeds, was Cory Monteith. And what's interesting is I really didn't know that much about him, and I know he was an actor, but I was getting his name coming to me yesterday, and then I knew that he wanted to communicate, but I didn't quite understand, what his message was at that time. And so I tapped into that more today. And what I did get from him talking to me is he was telling me that he was a starseed here on the earth. So that's why he was coming through, is he wanted to be a part of this communication, talking about this energy. So one of the things that he mentioned was that he had experiences with addictions, and he talks about how for him, the way he presented himself was he was, in the limelight, he was in front of other people, and he was known for certain things. But in a way, he felt like the way he described it was a hidden addiction, like a closet addiction, like it was something that was kind of there, below the surface a little bit and maybe more hidden. And, maybe he didn't always like present the darker sides, or not really, it's not complete darkness, but just kind of like struggles that he would have, and the ways that he felt like he didn't know how he fit in, even though he had these roles and he had this career, he did feel like he didn't know where he fit into the bigger picture. Like he kept feeling a calling to do something else. And so one of the things he was talking about is being yourself. And he said, being yourself in the world, which we talk about a lot, being who you are, being unique, showing your talents. He said he struggled with that a lot, that, he felt like he couldn't quite figure out where he wanted to go and where he fit in. And because he was feeling this higher level energy from the starseed energy. But he says, when you're being yourself, it can be hard like that at times. So just know that there is somewhat of an internal struggle at times when you're first trying to get out that true spiritual calling that wants to emerge, that is your voice that needs to come out. You may feel like you are judged by other people, but he's trying to bring the message to us to really connect to our truth and bring that out more. He says he felt a lot of pressure to be perfect in other people's eyes, or maybe what he thought would be perfect for other people. And he felt this, at different times, but it was not all the time, but he did feel it sometimes. He says he also experienced what he describes as ups and downs of emotions, like an emotional roller coaster. And that also contributed towards why he struggled with his place on the earth and why he was here, knowing that really he was feeling that calling as a starseed. And that struggle, that emotional struggle, actually caused him to seek ways to deal with that. So that's where some of the addictions came in. He did say, though, that with the being in Hollywood and being in front of people, but mainly just the Hollywood connection is what he was trying to say. He says there's a high with Hollywood. And so there's this way that you get in front of the camera, you get put into a position where, people know who you are, and then you are on this high of that experience. And that's why he struggled, because he didn't know how to kind of adjust to that more. Thank you, Susan, for that comment. It's good to see you here. Yeah, I think we all feel a need to be perfect in front of others. I think it's not just something that is in Hollywood and people that are definitely on the camera, but that's more amplified for them because they are more known and it is more prominent and there's expectations for them. But I think we all feel that way, and that's why they're coming to tell us that tonight, that we may be sensitive at times because we're starseeds. So, we're starseeds, we're empaths, we're intuitive, we feel energy, and so we need to find ways to be like kinder to ourselves and not judge ourselves, because other people really may not feel the ways that we're even feeling. We may be kind of sensitive to things that are happening around us, maybe it's really not as bad as we think it is. It's just sometimes we internalize our thoughts and emotions so much that it creates these doubts and these ways of us, like we thinking we're not meeting a standard, we're not good enough for other people. This can even happen in the spiritual community. I mean, you could be, doing your craft in the spiritual realm and feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing that like somebody else is doing. I don't have that talent. And then you kind of feel like, where do I fit in there? And maybe people don't like what I do. And I think there's so many different ways that can come up in your life. You can even feel that way in relationships too, like not feeling good enough for the other person, or like you don't know how to have a good relationship because you're more in a worried state or feeling those emotional highs and lows. So if you have any questions, I just want to welcome everybody again. I've been going through talking about starseeds and connecting to some spirits. You can put questions in the chat or say hi, where you're from. And right now I was talking to Cory Monteith, and he was telling me about his experience with addictions and the emotional roller coaster that he went through. I feel like he, maybe didn't want to leave when he did. So it was kind of earlier than maybe it should have been. But at the same time, I think what had happened is he was so overcome by feeling uncomfortable and, being that starseed that didn't know where he fit in quite well, that he, kind of got distracted by these other things that unfortunately took him out of the world too soon. So he, still from the spirit world, he tries to understand, what happened to him in that way and how he can learn from it as a soul and maybe help other people that are in those experiences now that are struggling with addictions or struggling with ways that they fit in as a starseed. So I do want to mention one thing about starseeds is they, people that are starseeds have come in to the earth at different times. So there was different, more prominent times. I think there was times that maybe, even in the 50s, 60s, 70s, they were coming in. And then there was another time later on that it's more recent that there was a lot more starseeds either being awakened or coming into the earth. So through this experience of who I'm going to connect to tonight with spirits, you're going to see that there's a whole range of starseeds, and it's not always who you think it is. So a lot of times we imagine, if we talk about a starseed, so when we say that, we're talking about somebody that could be originated from stars like Andromedan, Sirian, a Pleiadian, an Arcturian, and so we imagine them to be a certain way and, maybe have certain characteristics. But what they want you to know tonight is that there's a lot more starseeds on the planet than you realize that are in different roles. They may not be spiritual leaders per se. They might be doing something else where they are, entertaining people or doing artwork or, just helping people one-on-one in some way. So just let you know that there are ways that you'll start to identify that. You may have people cross your path and you recognize each other. If you're a starseed, you'd be like, ooh, I feel like I can talk to them better. I have a stronger connection, and it feels comfortable, like that home feeling, which is what your star system would be. That would be your home, and so you may feel that with them. So you'll cross paths with people like that, and then you'll be able to open up more, and that'll awaken your powers more. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and I'm going to continue to talk about starseeds and bring messages from spirits. So the other actor that I had that came through was Cory Haim, and he was another individual that he kind of went out too soon in a way. He had struggles as well. He had some struggles with addiction as well, and he, even though that wasn't completely every part of the end of his life, a lot of what had happened at the end of his life he talked about was feeling like he was kind of being pulled away from the earth. So he says he did feel like he left too soon, but at the time when he was on the earth, he did really struggle with where did he fit. He didn't understand what was the next part of his life. He was really attached to his previous identity, and he didn't know how to shift it into what was really his true calling more in that part of his life. He said he started to feel in the last year or two that his light was dimming. So when he's talking about his light, he's talking about his light energy, and that feeling just when you feel like tired or fatigued, out of breath or something like that, you just start to feel run down sometimes when you're doing too much stuff. Well, if you continue to feel that, and maybe you've had a lot of hard things in your life, you might really drain your energy so much that it starts to feel like you're disconnected from your body more, like you're not, anchored to the earth. So he said he was feeling a lot of that, feeling like he was kind of, I think I would describe it as in and out of his body more. He started feeling very disconnected from the earth, from his body. He felt lost. He did not know where to go. It's almost like he was searching for the answers. He was searching for somebody to help him in some way, or, pointing him in the right direction. And it just wasn't happening. It didn't feel right. Everything felt like it wasn't right. And he kept feeling like there was an energetic pull to another place that wasn't the earth. So he was kind of feeling this star planet that he was a part of. And he's telling me that he was a Pleiadian starseed. So a Pleiadian is someone who can come in as a record keeper of the earth, and they tend to want to uplift people and be very empathic and like intuitive, and they care for people a lot. And so if you think about how he presented himself in his, just himself, and then also sometimes in his roles, he did come across as that light that was like uplifting people. He would uplift the scenes in a movie, or he would like be that person that you would just kind of look at and you knew there was something like pulling you in. And so it was because he was so like heart-centered and empathic. But unfortunately, sometimes when people are very heart-centered, they get really bogged down by other people's feelings and emotions and things going on, and they tend to want to hide it and like cover it up, and they absorb other people's stuff too much. So I think that he was kind of doing that, maybe not realizing what he was doing. So he was taking on other people's energy too. And then what was happening is, as he was doing that, he was helping them with their light, but he was getting drained because he didn't know how to basically keep filling his energy back up, and like, creating a way that he was not as drained. And so he would get to where he was almost like, if you can imagine somebody walking around and carrying the load, like carrying other people with them. And that's why he was feeling so heavy. And then also when he was more in his addiction mode or something that was more destructive, he also was doing things that kind of, brought his energy down too. So he acknowledges that he just wasn't aware of what was really harming him in that way. He kind of knew that he was off, but he was blaming it on other things. He didn't really know what to do to get better, because he thought it was because things weren't working out in his life that he wanted to happen. And he said he felt, he said he had a choice whether to, basically leave at that time or not. And he chose to leave because he felt like it would be better and easier for him to be in his home on the other side. It's like he had drained himself so much that he honestly did not feel like there was a way for him to stay here anymore. Like he does acknowledge he could have, if he had known more about what to do earlier on. So that's why he's coming in tonight, to tell you more about how to not let your energy get drained by other people or situations or things that are happening, how not to take on other people's stuff. So you may have somebody around you that, if they have problems, and let's say that they come up to you and they're talking about it a lot, or they are having like issues with depression or whatever it is, and it's just really overcoming them, and you want to support them, you want to be there. Of course, we want to support each other. But there's a way that you could energetically bring in that depression, that feeling, that lower emotional energy, that draining energy to yourself, and it become a part of your energy field. So a couple of things I'm going to suggest here is, one is, if you have that situation kind of create more of a barrier in a way where you're observing the person or the situation and not so much like connecting to them where you just want to take away the pain. You just want to be there to hear or listen or be there in the presence, but you don't want to take the pain on. And you may have to sometimes take breaks away from that. Like if it's really overwhelming, say that you need to step away from it because it could be too much in some cases. And then also, other than just that, doing that observing, like when you're ever in a situation where you're with somebody that, maybe they have a lot of trauma, emotional energy going on, that's real negative, something bad happens that day, just do more of a clearing, like do something where when you get home, just kind of do this thing where you're almost imagining light washing over your body and your energy just being cleansed to like a pure white golden light, and just let it feel like it's flowing over you, just like a waterfall would flow over you. And you can also do this by taking a bath or a shower, using Epsom salts and stuff like that. But even if you visualize that happening, then it'll get sent off and you can kind of imagine it going into the light. So going kind of into the God source, the universe, and being transformed into love. So you just want to send that off and let it go. And then you can also additionally ask for the spirit guides and angels for that person to come in and help them and be a, protective force, a guiding force, uplifting for them to help them further. And that really does help a lot to open them up to more healing and finding their own path so that they don't feel overwhelmed or like they have to, maybe reach out as much. Maybe there's ways they can tap into their own healing energy. Okay, so if you're joining right now, just go ahead and put your questions in the chat to spirits. We're talking to a few spirits tonight about starseeds and learning more about how we can begin to, be more aware of our energy and understand our awakening right now. So I was talking to Cory Haim, and he was talking about his experience of how his light dimmed before he left the earth. And, he did feel that pulling sensation, but he knows that he chose not to leave at that time, though, because that felt like he needed to go back to this other place. He was known as a Pleiadian from where he came from. So that was his energy. That was his starseed energy. He describes how he felt like he made a few wrong choices in the last few years of his life that kind of led to all of this happening. And it was almost like, the idea of the wheel turning, and like a rock or boulder rolling down a mountain or something like that. It just kept going and going and going. And he just felt like he couldn't get out of whatever that was. And then he also acknowledges that he was disconnected for a long time from his own light, and it was just worse in the last few years. And he felt like nothing was right. And he wants everybody to know, this is his message for you. He says, find your way on earth. It's there for you, but you just have to be your own truth without any fear. So he struggled with figuring that out, but he says you can find that. If you feel like you're a starseed, if you feel disconnected, like nobody understands you, you feel that empathic thing where you're sensing other people's energy, just know that you can speak your truth and be in your own power and find your way by just taking time to identify it and not feeling like you have to find it right away. But know that you're going to feel at times like, oh, I don't belong here, something's not right, there's something I should be doing. Just meditate on that more. Start to take time to connect to that more and see what is that, and begin to take steps toward what you feel called to do. And that will begin to shift that energy so you don't feel as disconnected. And maybe find people that you feel connected to, like how we're on here tonight. Who do you feel identifies with that energy? Like, who is a starseed friend for you? Somebody that maybe understands about awakening more, or how to be sensitive to other people's energy and clear the energy. And you want to be around people that are in the positive light, and find your tribe in a way, find the way that you fit in so that you can feel like you're not alone, because you're not alone. And so I'm briefly going to tell you about a few of the other star systems that are identified with starseeds. So Sirian is one of them, and Sirians are usually considered problem solvers, and they can also be very creative in their energy. And I did talk about Pleiadians earlier with Cory Haim, and they can be record keepers of the earth. They tend to uplift people, very caring. Andromedans, they come from the Andromeda galaxy, and they have a very interesting mix of a balance between logic and emotions, and they want to empower humanity and fill our hearts with compassion so that we can do good in the world. Arcturians are very intellectual and emotional as well. They have a great advancement for the intellectual energy, strong wisdom. They love to have conversations. So if you're a person that likes to talk things out and you like to talk through all of your, thoughts of what the universe is like, or, just random things like that, that could be that you're tapping into the Arcturian energy. Okay, I have a question here. Any messages for me and mission? Okay. Okay, I feel like you're definitely a starseed, and you are kind of a combination of energies. One of the things to note is when you are a light worker, you tend to bring in combinations of different star systems, so it's not just one energy. So I feel like you're a combination of different energies, but it's very high dimensional energy. So you were working at one time with healing light. There was a connection to the pyramids as well. You've been in different dimensions where you were helping people to heal their light, heal their DNA. And then for your mission here, you are here to activate and open up people through your words. Part of it is writing messages and speaking messages. And also there's another way that the healing will come through with some of your tools that you may learn along the way. So there's something to do with energy that you're going to tap into that's a different type of energy. So it has to do with the higher consciousness. It is something that it's hard to define really right now, because we're trying to move into this other new, 5D energy and different ways that we're opening up to higher light. So I don't know if I can really define what the consciousness is, but just know that you will understand it, and it's going to be in a higher vibration. You're going to meditate on it. You're going to get an awakening to it. This is going to happen soon. You're going to start to get more things coming in and connect to that. I hope that helps you understand your mission. Just begin to do those things where you connect to them. Ask the starseed energy to come through and connect to you in meditations, and it'll come through stronger. Hi, Susan. Let me see what I have for you. Do you have a specific question, or you just want to see what comes through? And I just want to welcome anybody that's joining. Just if you want to join the chat and tell me where you're from or ask a question, go ahead at any time. We're talking about starseeds tonight and bringing in some messages from spirits. Okay, Susan. So right now, yeah, you are in an interesting place right now. I feel like you're kind of in this in-between zone. So you're like balanced in this place. You're very balanced, okay? So your energy is very good right now. And they're saying that you're not in the place that eventually you will be, obviously. You're still kind of in this kind of hovering space where you're in between. But they're saying that that's soon. So just acknowledge that you're right now in kind of a holding pattern in a way, where you're just reaching out to other people and experiencing things and still kind of learning about the stuff. So you're kind of seeing what you're interested in. But in the future, I do see that you have a very strong empathic power to connect to people. And I feel the word humanitarian that comes up to me. So you have a way that you can do something to get groups together in a different capacity. So I would have you look at something like, could you gather people together that are maybe just learning about certain things that haven't ever been exposed to it before, And so you start to learn about it, and then you talk to your friends about it at first, and then it becomes something else, and eventually you develop a group around it. And it could be just one part of your spiritual journey. It doesn't have to be this big, huge, universe of spirituality. It could be just one tiny part of it that you feel drawn to that's more prominent. I do feel a very strong connection to animals with you as well. So I have this, I'm feeling the energy of like an intuitive feeling that you can communicate with animals quite a bit. And so that will be another piece to it as well. So that could be something that you talk about with people. I think you can help people who are empaths and maybe they're awakening to some of the things that they didn't understand about energy before. You have some healing capacity as well that could be tapped into. So you would have to kind of investigate that and see where you fit into it. You definitely have a lot of angels around you as well. So they're helping to guide you. Just keep exploring it for now. They said you're okay where you are, and just, let it be where it is. And then eventually you'll feel more drawn to something that, it's introduced to you and you're like, oh, this is interesting. I haven't really thought about this before. I'm really liking this. And then you start to share that with people. You're welcome, Susan. That was a beautiful message. You have a lot of work to do is what they're saying. You have a lot of work to do. But don't worry about it. It's not tomorrow. You got time. So now, if anybody's joining, and just letting you know, we're talking about Starseeds tonight, and we're bringing in some spirit messages. And so you can ask a question in the chat. If you don't get a chance to get your question answered, or you just jump on later, just send me a message through Facebook and I'll still answer your message. So we're going to talk with another spirit right now that came through. So it's interesting how they kind of jumped around a little bit, but they're all starseeds. So this is very interesting. So then I started getting, sometimes I hear sounds or songs or something like that. So I was getting, here's looking at you, kid. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Where did that come from? So that literally came into me like 15 minutes before I started the event tonight. And I was like, oh, okay, let me tap into that. And so I was feeling this energy of Humphrey Bogart. And one of the things that was coming in first is I was getting like some of the connections with things that he wanted me to know about him. And so I really don't know that much about him, honestly. I often don't have that much information before I start getting messages. So it's interesting to see what they talk about. So I think he was connecting me to like, the Casablanca, and then there was a couple other movies. And he also, what was interesting is one of the funny things that he talked about right off the bat is he said, I'm a bad guy. And so he was trying to say that he played a bad guy, like a gangster role in some of his movies. And so that's why he was bringing that up. And, he's just kind of trying to be funny because we're trying to bring in love energy and connect to the love. And he's just kind of throwing that out there to be funny. But anyway, he said to let people know that we have these new lighted pathways that are happening right now, and new star seeds that are being awakened right now. Okay. So even though we've had these waves of star seeds that have come in, and we've had a lot of awakenings in the last few years, he's saying right now, as we speak, there's about to be another big awakening, okay? Another wave. A lot of people are going to get woken up. They're going to start doing their stuff. Maybe they've been on the fence. They've been thinking about it. So if you feel like you're in that category, there's something you've been wanting to do. You're like, I have this bigger mission. I have this calling. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm ready. You are ready. They're saying right now, you can start doing something towards it. You can start learning about it more. You can start following steps into whatever your craft is, whatever it may be. If it's just helping people heal, or if you're a writer, if you're, in the science areas, medicine, whatever it is, you can start to do these things, start following it, because it is needed right now. We need to shift the planet more, raise the energy vibration of the planet, begin to experience what the love on earth can feel like. It's the love from the other side, but it can be so intense and wonderful here if we just allow it to come in more. So he was talking about that. And what's interesting about Humphrey Bogart is that he was telling me that he was a starseed. so this is an interesting thought because he came in earlier, so way earlier, and so we're thinking, oh, Starseeds is like a recent phenomenon, and you know how we know about it and things like that. But he's saying, yeah, but I was a Starseed. See, so there's a lot of people that we don't realize that they are in that role because they might be doing something different that we don't identify with the Starseed. But he's saying that for him, he, you know, his messages were to come through in a different way. Like maybe he was more of an entertainer and he did that, but he still had a way of connecting to people to bring the energy in. Now, he also mentioned that he talked about he was kind of the jack of all trades, and he said he was kind of being funny about that when he said that because he had a lot of roles in his life. So he was not only acting, but he did a lot of other things too. So he tended to like try different things out, and that's a good sign of being a starseed. Like starseeds are just like interested in things. They want to learn. They want to like investigate things and try with different things all the time, and keep like just kind of flipping things around, seeing what else is new. And so he talked about that. He really lived life pretty full, and he wasn't really afraid of anything, and he just kind of like did what he felt like he wanted to do to learn what was next. He didn't worry about where he came from. He may have had struggles at times, but he didn't worry about that. He kind of just said, okay, well, what else can I do? What else is out there? And then he also talked about how even though he was this kind of, the jack of all trades, he said he did master something. Okay, so this is very interesting. He said he mastered that this notion of telepathy and intellectual abilities. Like he felt that even though people didn't realize this was possible at that time, or that was a part of who he was very telepathic. He had very strong intellectual skills and a strong memory, which is why he was drawn to acting as well, because that he could use all of those skills. So imagine that you're in that role, and you have that strong memory to remember your lines, and then you also have that telepathy where you're kind of picking up on the other person that you're acting with. So he had a really strong way of pulling that in. And so with him being more in that mode of having that telepathy and that feeling like that, he's saying that he was, not in one particular star system that he came from. It was more like he was what he would classify as just a light worker in a sense. So more of a combination of energies. And he had been in other lifetimes before where he was in front of people a lot, and also bringing in his light in different ways too. So I think we sometimes identify light workers only, coming in right now, but we all have our light. It's just we identify it more now because we're more aware of what that terminology is, and that we are doing that work. But people have been doing that work for quite a while. So that's one of the things he wanted to mention. And then he said he wanted to give you all a message. So this is his main message that he wants you to take away. He says, when you master your mind, then your heart becomes the guiding force. And so as he was saying that, I was getting the feeling of that saying from Star Wars, may the force be with you. And so I was starting to tap into that energy a little bit. And that's what he's really trying to say. We're all stars. We're all starlight. We're star seeds. We're light workers. We're coming from these higher dimensions to come here on the physical plane to transform the world, to bring in love, compassion for all humanity. And we can do that when we master our minds and allow our minds to be the tool and not the driving force. And then our hearts become the guides for what we're doing. And that allows us to bring in what we really want, what we really desire, a way to heal other people, to heal ourselves, to heal the world. So that was one of his last messages, and that was really interesting. If anybody has any questions about Starseeds, or if you want a message from a spirit that I talked to, or your spirit guides or anything, let me know in the chat. You can also send me a message later through Facebook, and I'll try to get an answer to you. And so one of the things I want to do right now is I want to start to talk about how we can start to activate this starseed power within us. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into, in a few minutes, a little journey to feel that activation coming in. What they're going to do is they're going to come in, and we're going to have, different star system energies come in. So there'll be different beings from all these different star systems, and they're going to be there. So whatever starseed energy you need will come through, and it'll help you to connect to that more. And while I'm doing that with you, they're also going to bring in a channeled message as well. So that will be a part of the experience, and you'll see what they have to say and which energy is coming through. If you have any questions, you can still put them in the chat, and I'll try to answer them at the end, or you can send a message to me on Facebook. So let's just take a moment and let's gather the energy and allow these beautiful star seeds to come in and be a part of our hearts and open us up to what is possible in the world. So right now, let's go ahead and just get comfortable in the space and close your eyes and just imagine that in the space you are right now, you are expanding as a star. There's a beautiful starlight that is emanating from your heart and growing, and it is expanding in the room and reaching out. And just imagine all the points in the star like rays of light, and they're just growing more and more. And as they grow, we're going to invite the higher dimensions, Starseeds, Pleiadians, Arcturians, Sirians, Andromedans, and all Starseeds and lightworkers from a higher dimension of love to come into our space to help us grow this light. And as they come into this space, just know that they are surrounding you with this light. They're going to raise you into a higher frequency. Just breathe in that light. And know that they're tuning in to your frequency. They're observing your heart space and noticing what needs to be adjusted, what needs to be healed. They're awakening you to a higher dimension. And just let that light continue to feel your heart space. Now, as you let this starlight grow, these beings will come closer to you, and they come from love. They want you to feel the deepest love, unconditional love, universal love. They're bringing you great knowledge and wisdom at this time. Tonight you will connect to your higher purpose as a starseed, as a light worker. And it will become clear to you that your energy will guide you and open you up and help you to be in the highest dimension of light, to transform anything that needs to be transformed to love. They're surrounding you in a cocoon of light. You are safe in the light. And now, as you are surrounded in this cocoon of light, we're going to travel together to this higher dimension, to the star planets, the star systems. Allow yourself to journey, to feel the light pulling you up, traveling among the stars. As you shine your light in the cosmos, they are now going to guide you to a star system for you to feel that energy, to know more of who you are. Just allow that light to gather you into a new star system, a new place of love, a place that feels like home. And now I'm going to bring you a message. The message is from the Andromedans. We are united in the light with you. We feel your powerful force. We connect to your wisdom and truth. We know your divine purpose. We trust that you have the keys and understand the journey. But we come here to remind you that it is now time for you to feel your sacred energy, your special purpose more. To allow your light to be part of our dimension and connection to the earth. To feel our communication coming in through your telepathic powers, through your mind and through your heart. As they integrate, you will receive all the answers you seek. And we are there with you. We are in the star systems. We are like the stardust. We are the starlight. We are the love in your hearts. And we carry you great miles in your journey on earth. And we know that in the bigger picture, it is but a short time for you before you come home again. But know that you are welcome to visit with us in your dreams, in your time of reflection and meditation and artful practices of working with your light. When you listen to the sounds, when you listen to the sounds of nature and the dolphins and the beautiful crystals will speak to you as you hold them, know that you are speaking with this in some way. You are speaking to higher dimensions and starlight. You are being reminded how beautiful you are, how you are more than your physical body. You are free to be the light always. And if you could see your light, you would see how wonderful and beautiful you are, how perfect in design you are, how you are already amplified in the light. You must simply know that it is true. We bring you great courage and strength to push through the boundaries, to accept what is next on your journey, and to know that you are a star on the earth that is here to shine the light for others. You are here to guide to inspire, to heal, to bring about new changes and new ways of looking at the light. You are here to be the superstars of the light. You are here to be the greatest spheres of light, to be love, to be that beautiful love. You are here to open up the wisdom more, to share your wisdom so others can know what is their true path, what is their light. Do not be afraid of what you do not know. Simply ask and you will receive guidance. You will receive what you need to walk on your path. You will receive your powers more amplified. You will receive a knowing of what is next for you. You will feel that activation within you. And right now we are activating your light to a higher purpose, to know that it is time for you to start moving in that direction, to become one with the light, to be more powerful in who you are, to trust that you are here to do great work for the light. You are light workers, you are star seeds, you are great beautiful lights, great beautiful lights. And we are here to represent you too. We are here to support you and to encourage you to keep going further, to not be worried or ashamed of where you have come from or what you have journeyed through, but to be overjoyed by who you are becoming now, who you are remembering about who you are. You are remembering your truth. You're remembering your light. You're remembering that you're a great soul that has many missions, that you are here for one in particular, that is for the amplification of the Earth's frequency at this time, to create more sacred energy in the light, and to be a higher light, higher and higher and higher, until we know only love and you know only love. And then love is everything, everything in your consciousness and your awareness and your life and your environment. All of your connections become light and love and beautiful, beautiful love, flowing and flowing into the universe and beyond, and connecting all of us together as we are all connected. And you can reach out to us and call to us, and we will be there for you. We support you and guide you always. We are always with you. We love you greatly. We keep you in our space of our heart and keep you elevated. And know that even when you are struggling, that you know that there is a truth within you that tells you there is more, there is more, there is more light, there is more light. There is more light for you to gather, to be, to become, to share, to grow, to dream, to be created in your world, to be a magical light that is beautiful and free. We are here with you today to remind you, to bring you to the sacred energy, to sanctify the light, to bring it into the purest space of heavens and beyond the cosmos and beyond the expansion of what you know, because there is always more in the consciousness that is growing and becoming more in your awareness. Know that you are ready at this time to begin to shift to this light. So now with us, let's do a quick activation. Let's activate our hearts at this time. Imagine there is a beautiful light that is coming into your heart, and it is healing everything in your heart and letting you be free. You are now free in the light, to be free, free from anything that has harmed you in your life, anything you feel that has taken your light away, has challenged you in your life, that has caused you to feel worried or afraid, to feel that strength of fear instead of the strength of love. We want you to let it go, let it go, let it go into the light. We are activating your energy into the higher planes of light to feel love. And now you are free. You are free in your world to be nothing but pure light. Every day you may tap into this beautiful light. We want to thank you for allowing this beautiful activation of your light to be free and to feel love within you. For eternity, it is yours for your keeping. It is for you to hold in your heart forever and ever. You are much welcome to join us when you feel that you need this love, to receive more love from us and more guidance. Thank you for being open to this experience, for allowing us to come in, for being here for this activation. We want to guide you to go on your journey, and just know that we are working with you, and be grateful for what comes to you, because you will receive many, many gifts as you have received this activation. Thank you for welcoming us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for holding your presence in the light. Thank you for being the love. Okay. All right, that was the message from the Andromedans, and I feel there was probably other star systems that were around as well, but they were more prominent tonight. That was a very, very powerful message. There was so much that was coming through me. It was happening really fast. It was hard for me to keep up with the words because it was just a very fast paced energy. It felt to me like it was very urgent message, very strong energy. I felt a very strong energy in my heart space, a very, very strong presence of what stepped in tonight. So that will be a way for you to be more on your path, to be more activated in your light. You can come back and re-listen to the message again, and maybe then it'll give you another point of something that will come to you, more of an activation for you as well. And if you have any questions, you can still put questions in the chat now. We're coming to the end of our event for tonight, but if you don't get a chance to ask your question and you're listening to this video later, just go ahead and send me a message in Facebook, and you can ask a question to your spirit guides, to the Andromedans or other star seeds or any of the spirits that spoke tonight, and I will give you a message. And I want to thank everybody for being a part of this journey tonight and just being open to it and allowing these spirits to come in freely and express what they feel is something that we need to know about our experience here, our ability to love and to connect and to find our higher purpose and embrace the awakening that we're going through. Just embrace it and fully be a part of it. And know that even if you're a star seed and you feel that really strong, brighter energy, know that you can find your path. Don't feel like it's like there's no support and there's no way for you to find what is right for you, and that you don't fit in. Know that you do fit in, that there are communities of all of us gathering who are from this energy, and we are bringing this forward. So join in this experience, and then you can begin to feel more comfortable in your path and who you are. I also want to mention right now, as we're ending, just a few things that are coming up. So I am right now doing these same events Friday night. So if you want to join another one, they'll be coming up in the future. So if you want to join again and see what the spirit messages are, ask a questions, feel free to join other ones. There'll be times when we'll be doing more of a channeling, more of a healing session. They'll be different every time. And then also I have new meditations that are group meditations I do online that are coming up in June. So you can go to my website or my Calendly link, which I put in here, where you can, if you want to go ahead and sign up for some of the meditations that are coming up. And then I want to mention that I do angel and soul purpose readings. So if you're wondering why you came to the earth and maybe what your starseed connection is, you can sign up for a reading on my website. And I also do hypnosis and past life regression sessions. And this is a very good way for you to implement the idea that they were talking about, getting that way of, finding a way to work with your mind a little bit better so it doesn't take over and you're using your heart space more. It helps you to understand what you need to release and how you can balance your energy and your mind. And then also, I want to invite y'all to, if you haven't already joined the Shine From Your Soul YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because all of these events I'm going to be streaming into YouTube, and so you can watch them later on YouTube. And then I'm also going to be uploading a lot of really cool meditations, channelings, and other things that I'm going to do with spiritual topics that I'm going to talk about. So if you join the channel, just go ahead and subscribe. You can get notifications, select to get notifications when you subscribe, and you'll know when I'm uploading new videos and there's new content coming out. And if you have anything that if you really love this event or other things that you watch on my YouTube channel, go ahead and share them with other people through Facebook or through, your other social media, email and whatnot, so that they can experience it too and they can begin to understand more about their light. I want to thank everybody that was a part of this experience, and just know that we are in the time of expanding more. And if you feel like you're not understanding your energy, if you have questions about your energy, just know that you can reach out through my Facebook group as well, the Shine From Your Soul Facebook group, because we're going to start talking a lot about spiritual empowerment and how you can go ahead and become a part of, what can I do next to empower my energy more, to learn more about my spiritual purpose. So I want to invite you to join that if you haven't joined that already. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Have a good evening, and just check me out on the next Friday event. Have a good evening.